We are live. Welcome, everyone, to this week's installment of Bardic Inspiration. And with me this evening are the Magical Cane Band, ready to play some Dungeons and Dragons in Shakespearean style. We are in Melbourne, which is locked down like much of Victoria, New South Wales. So solidarity to all of you, if any of you are watching with us this eve or later on our YouTube channel. If you have not yet, this is a quick reminder to go ahead and click subscribe here below and that bell for notifications so you know when we're on. But we are on every Sunday, 7:30 p.m. like now. Tonight, the Magical Cane Band returns. And when last we left them, they were in the wrap-up phase after a pretty epic encounter with Hergor, the Black Dragon, whom they suddenly and surprisingly dispatched with brutal efficiency after some back and forth between the area around the swamps of Gadmouth, which included a number of things, including the disappearance of their friend Mother Sawyer, along with her entire house, and also, of course, the amazing assassination of the corrupt nobleman Edwin Banks. Now, when we catch up with the Cane Band, we've got Meg, Rick, Matt, and Catherine with us tonight. Unfortunately, Donna could not be with us. She's with us in spirits all the way from London. But Finn is still with the band. I am just about ready to turn it over to all of you, the cast, for a recap. But first, I'm going to set 2 minutes on a timer, and then I'm going to turn it over to you. Tell us what happened last session 2 weeks ago. It's starting in 3, 2, 1, recap.
Brockley and Budge spoke goblin.
Oh yeah, no, giant. Spoke giant to each other, and I think and Sylvan. I tried to teach you some Sylvan, but Budge doesn't know how.
Ritual lingo, that's right.
Yeah. We traveled to Lake Lewin, out of the swamps and towards the lake edge, to go meet up with Budge's mentor, criminal contact called Breezy. Not girlfriend. Smuggler called Breezy, to try and buy some things. We thought about maybe selling some of the dragon parts, but just before Breezy rocked up in her barge, we decided not to, that we just wanted to buy stuff.
But really, the bulk of the session belongs to Brockley and Rain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I embraced the way of the wolf with Rain's help through the initiation bloodletting, controlled the wolf within, and feel like I might be pretty awesome now. I don't know. Am I awesome? I feel like I might be pretty awesome now.
And in honor of that, Webastian made a fairy grotto out of web with a little picture of Brockley and Rain going through their transition that Alora is now going to make a model of for him to keep.
Yeah.
And Budge and Rain and Brockley threw around a straw man that Brockley just happened to have. And then Budge threw Rain in there, and Rain managed to do some flips and land in the water. So pretty productive day.
Yeah.
And it's only the morning, apparently. It was only the morning.
Yeah, and there was that one thing, which was that the Magical Cane Band decided to announce themselves via song, as they always do, to Breezy, even though we were trying to stay undercover.
You were trying to stay undercover. We were not.
I was trying to stay undercover.
Fine,
Yeah,
2
right.
minutes. Well done. Got it all in there. You know, I was all ready to go with something like the straw man or halfling toss or something like that. And then someone had to go and call Breezy Budge's smuggler, which obviously became the session title from last week. And so, as you indicated, we left off on the side of the River Gad, not far from the edge of Lake Lewin, with Budge, who was just resolving a conversation, a bit of a transaction with his contact Breezy. You purchased an Immovable Rod, as well as an Alchemist Jug, and you actually did a bit of a trade for a few of the dragon scales, which you had kind of varnished up to look older and more banged up than they actually were. And you seem to have pulled that off. What you didn't pull off, Budge, was eventually the sort of hope of Breezy not knowing who you all were. She seemed to have definitely recognized the Magical Cane Band from your exploits back in Gadmouth and the Banks
Write
Estate.
our names with that spider web.
The writing was literally on the wall. Yeah. So Breezy was just sort of packing up her portable hole where she was storing a lot of these things. And she had just said to you, Budge, I'll pretend I know not that you are that very same Magical Cane Band. We're old friends, Budge. I never saw you today.
Right. Oh, I appreciate that, Breezy. And, well, if I'm tracking back this way, I'll light the smoke again, and perhaps we can do some more business.
You've more merchandise like what you showed today. Perhaps I'll have better than I showed you. Folks will pay top dollar, and I mean extremely top, back in Orst, for what you've got. Assuming
Right. As
you
much
get
as
lucky.
what you paid me.
You know my role, Budge. You want to travel to Orst and work with my contacts or contacts of your own? Easy money. I wave you a fond farewell.
See you, Breezy. And now I'll head off the barge.
Okay. Breezy, once she is sort of situated, will take the rod off of the back clip on her belt and place one tip of it into the water, sort of shoving off from where she had moored her small barge. And then as the barge turns downstream and begins flowing with the current, she does something. And then the barge takes off with renewed speed, going quite speedily down the river before moving out of sight. Cane Band, you are at the signal point, a rise of a hillock overlooking the river, with your fire burning down to ashes now and last whiffs of that signal smoke. The day is yours. It is the afternoon of the 19th of Snowbreak. What would you like to do?
I am so sorry, Budge.
Oi, now, Rain. It's funny, bit of a change of tune.
That did not look like a nice meeting.
Well, we managed to sort some things out. And I'll hold
the lack of chemistry. There was the lack of chemistry there in Budge makes our hearts all sore. There was a lack of camaraderie there that speaks of a friendship, but no more. Ugh.
Well, I mean, that's what I was trying to tell you. But hey, I'm happy with that friendship, and well, you know, I've got these things now, and Budge will hold up the Immovable Rod and the Alchemy Jug, like one in each hand. I managed to pick up a couple of curious things, as I was telling Allura, and I assume as she was telling you.
Indeed, I did.
Want to go?
Yes. And I just reach for the jug.
I'll hold it slightly higher. But I'll throw the Immovable Rod to Brockley. Just if you can catch it, it's like a rod about this big.
I can catch it.
And I'll lower the Alchemy Jug to let Rain have it.
Great.
Okay, Rain, you see that it's just like little, like sort of keg, kind of like the one of port wine that you had before, but instead of one spigot, it has numerous, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different spigots at various kind of like a spiraling set of them all around it.
So Rain just tries all the spigots until she gets to something alcoholic, and then proceeds to drain that.
Here's a fun thing. once the jug starts producing a liquid, it can't produce a different one or more of one than that has reached its maximum until the next dawn. So,
You have to
no,
trial
I
and
did.
error.
I did. When I was having Breezy demo, she actually did a little bit of each one, so I was not aware of that restriction on the item at that point. That's my mistake. Now there are different colors for all of the spigots. There's like a vibrant green, a kind of dull yellow, a brown, a gold, a white, one that's kind of transparent, which is a bit odd. One that's kind of like a burnt, rusty color. One that's a nice, lovely light blue. One that's kind of a deep blue.
Rain would have just
and then a
gone
blood
the
red.
brown.
Yeah.
Rain would have gone the brown.
Yeah. Well, Rain is in luck because that is the ale.
Yes.
But I can tell you this right now. Rain is not going to drain it all. Rain is mighty, but there are 4 gallons of ale at disposal at this point. That is a lot of ale.
Great.
Yeah. But
She
yeah.
is just gonna slowly drink it.
Broccoli,
Aye, Laura.
couldst thou potentially convey our small friend? I think that she will not last long on her feet at her current rate.
Oh, without a doubt, thou canst travel up in here. I shall carry thee as much as thou wouldst like to be carried. Good Rain.
Aye, Broccoli.
Mayhap finally to the Moonwood we can turn our eyes.
Oh, I think so.
Oh, exciting. Moonwood, it sounds mysterious and enticing, does it not?
Oh,
And it contains friends.
Were you there before, Brockley?
I mean, I have been so many places, good Budge. But the names still entice me on, even though I've heard them on numerous times. I discover them anew.
They have been there?
I
Or
mean,
nay?
I may have traveled through it and knew it not. Or I may have been there and knew it well. Or I have seen it and thought I should go there, or I have gone there and hoped to see it. I know not which it is, and yet I'm sure it's one of these.
I see. So, we do not know.
I will confess that one wood does in turn seem like another when thou hast been in the midst of one.
Well, the Moonwood is easy to tell apart from when it is night, or you have
And yet-
such a clear vision of the sky.
I have
From
never
certain
been to the
spots.
Moonwood, now that I have the way of the wolf within me, so the Moonwood shall have greater impact upon me.
Aye. Well, let's away then.
do any of you want some ale?
Oh, that's very nice, Rain.
Certainly, Rain. I'll hold up a cup.
Yeah, I'll hold it up.
Okay.
It's ale o'clock somewhere, am I right?
I'll climb up onto like Broccoli's shoulder and then just pour ale off the shoulder onto the grass.
I am most disappointed that Easy Breezy was not the figure of romance I hoped her to be. Because I have seen shows. Players have come and played their romantic comedies, and I enjoyed their tales. These romantic comedies always had players who were, they would have chemistry, and you would think that they should not be together, and yet they would then end up together. I did hope that there would be a romantic comedy here to see, or as I call them, antipodes. That's what we call them for short, antipodes.
I am sorry to disappoint, Brockley. But I
But then
cannot
these-
create something where there is none.
Oh, they were such fun, these shows. There would be two characters who would fight a lot, and then one of them would say, I need to learn how to kiss, and the other would teach them how to kiss, and there would be a spark between them, and we would be like, oh, these two characters seem to hate each other, and yet now there is some chemistry here, and there would be vows of murder, and And you would think, oh, they're either going to kill each other or love each other forever. Which way will it go? These shows were my favorite.
If we do not leave now, we shall not reach the Moonwood. I think not. I think we must make haste.
You can walk and talk and Bruin through, as it were.
Brockley, also, can I show you with that rod? Can I show you something?
We got some feedback coming from
Yeah, I
someone.
think we got a little feedback. Maybe I think it's from Rain.
Is it?
I blame
Budge
Rain.
will-
He's drunk.
Is it still?
I think it's gone away.
Budge will take the rod, and when he's going to try to jump as high as he can, and then click it in the air.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That happens. The rod is just sitting in midair up there, wherever Budge left it.
Is he hanging from it? Did he let it go?
How many pull-ups canst thou do? How many pull-ups canst thou do now that this rod is hanging here?
Oh, Budge will try to do one.
Make an athletics check.
His arms are pretty long.
Yeah,
You got a long way to go with them. Yeah.
Would be hard.
Athletics. Oh, whoops! I should roll in the.
Yeah, do it.
Athletics is.
Oh, not great. Not
It's
great.
a part of the rod's magic. Okay, it is much harder when you're pulling up on the immovable
Budge's-
rod for you
Budge's
yourself
arms are
to
shaking.
become immovable. And he'll click it and not just land back down.
Good time to shout out Matt Day, the creator of Rollcast, who lets us roll those virtual dice, which can betray us thusly.
But I did think that we could use it to put up a tent or some kind when we do our performance.
Aye.
Indeed.
This will come in handy in many ways if we think it through.
Aye.
We have
Surely.
a floating invisible disc. We have a rod that sticks in the air. We have dragon bits. I mean, we have all the ingredients for a show most compelling.
Aye.
Oh, Budge. You could throw me in the air. I could spin on the pole up higher to the platform so it looks as if I just disappeared.
If they were fast enough, Rain, if you span and clicked it again and went higher using your momentum and then clicked it again, could they just go forever?
Well, but now you know she's most certainly going to try.
I'll hand the rod to Rain. As much as I do treasure this, I wish to see thee do this more than
How high
anything.
canst thou go? How high canst thou go?
It's like that Ninja Warrior thing where you click the chin-up bar up.
Rain, before that, may I have a ale, please?
Aye. And Rain leans over and gives ale, and she's looking at the rod really lovingly, but it has been a long time since I have enjoyed ale, and I just give the rod back and keep drinking the ale.
Another time then perhaps. All right, so Budge will start with Peeves, sort of leading the Cane
Yeah.
Band to the Moonwood.
Make your survival check with advantage to see the kind of time you make, just with, as a group.
I'll go last, and just keep while we're still near the lake or river, wherever we are. Keep an eye
Yeah.
on more dead fishing tackle.
Yeah, you're near the river. 26, not bad.
Or did I get
Not
enough?
bad, not bad.
Thanks, Budge. Yeah. Budge, you're going home, or at least one of your homes. The way is relatively clear. You know of a good crossing not too far up ahead, so you're able to cross the river. You're a bit southeast of Gabneth, and so unlikely to run into much in the way of like soldiers and stuff. It's quite rural once you get anywhere inland from the lake. So you cross over, pretty sure, without being spotted or anything like that. Alora, you can roll a perception check if you'd like.
I do need to let everyone know that I am currently singing I'm on my way today. That's all I know of the song.
That's what you hear Rain doing. Alora, not much luck on the fishing tackle front. You do see a number of like odds and ends, bits of flotsam from maybe boats that have come apart or been abandoned or left. And so you might be able to get some old nails, but they're iron for the most part. So, but Budge with Peeves, you and the group, you make really good time until finding a really excellent place to make camp. There is a kind of tributary or sort of feeder stream, I should say, that eventually works its way to the River Gad, and it's got a lovely piece of high ground just overlooking it with a clearing where you can set up camp. You've got most likely another day and a half ahead of you before you get to the Moonwood. So if you like, if any of you have kind of ongoing objectives that you want to do, or if you have specific chats you want to have en route, we can make this same roll again for your journey tomorrow and see kind of how much time you make and spotlight some things throughout the day if you have anything you want to do at that time.
I'll just be cutting between fixing Finn's loot and making Webastian's fairy grotto.
Okay.
Budge is going to continue to tan the dragon hide, and like, I guess just cure to the best of his ability some of the other pieces. Like probably not the heart. He's probably going to try. He'd maybe check on that, and like, but lacking any. I don't know. Like, I mean, he has all that acid. I'm not sure if given that that's a material of the dragon, if like its internals would be immune to that. But like, he's not really sure how to preserve those parts, and is sort of just doing his best.
Yeah, Budge would know that short of having any other specific materials, the bag of holding is probably a pretty good option for preserving things, just given that it's stable and dry and it's not going to get jostled around or anything like that.
Planar.
Yeah, and there's nothing else alive in there to go eat it.
Yeah.
Which is one of your principal issues alongside the actual rot and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, so you've got a good space to camp. That's you.
Right. Yes. Is this what we're gonna do overnight and tomorrow?
Yeah, if you have something like you want to work on or do during the night, then you're welcome to do that.
So during the night, I say to Brockley, after drinking a lot of ale, "Hey, Brock,
Is rain.
let's run naked as wolves through the forest."
I mean, it seems like an excellent plan.
Yeah.
I've yet to do this, and I'm curious as to how it would feel.
The smells will be amazing.
Well, this will be a night well spent.
Is this happening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very excited that it is happening. Okay, so I'm presuming you're finding a place to dump all your stuff.
Yeah, I'm just meticulously taking off my clothes and folding them up nice and neat, making a little pile.
Yeah, and I am taking them off and throwing them at like Budge's head in the campsite, and I've already wolfed out.
Yeah.
I'll not notice and say, Broccoli, if thou dost intend to leave the camp, please stay in touch. Let me know.
All right. And I think to Roger that. Oh, not Roger the wizard. Roger the old barkeep that I used to know. Back in my hometown. Roger. He was always very agreeable. That Roger, not the other Roger. Roger that.
I'll think that as long as he was good at keeping in touch, I mind not, Broccoli.
He still sends a snow break card.
Where he sends it.
Every year. It finds its way to me. Oh, Roger. Anyway.
Broccoli, are you taking your hammer with you? That's how you keep in touch with Alora, right?
Oh, well, that might be tricky.
Yeah, true.
Oh.
Do not take the hammer.
No, because I can't run well holding a hammer with my wolf paws.
No, it's fine.
Sorry, Laura.
You could sling it to your back.
Ooh. I mean, I could get Webastian to web it to me, yeah, for sure.
I also have rope.
I mean,
Well, Bastion's webs are so cool.
Sure, I mean,
Imagine
be a crazy wolf with a spider's web a hammer across my back. I mean, makes
And
sense.
let's give it a go. We're Bastion.
Well,
You happy
all right.
to sling some web on me? Let's get this hammer nice and stuck. Oh wait, I gotta
Hold
wolf
still.
out.
Place the hammer where you do not want it to move from.
Okay. Okay. Oh.
Okay, here we go.
All right. There it is on the back there. Oh.
Let's see how well Webastian does.
After all, I would hate to require thy aid and be able to throw it up.
Okay, Broccoli, just streams of this web goes just across your back, and multiple lines of it have like stuck across your wolfed out fur and the hammer. It is very securely stuck to your back. Very securely.
All right. All right, that feels good. All right.
It's
Thank
not
you,
coming off.
Bastion. No.
Oh.
Very secure. Wait, let me check if I... Can so hear me, Laura? Can so hear me in my mind?
Indeed, Brockley.
Roger that. Oh, not Roger the wizard. You know the Roger of which I speak.
Okay, you ready to go for your run?
Yeah, I carefully give the barrel of ale to Laura. Take care of this with your life.
I shall.
Okay, Rain, Broccoli, as you take off into the night, it is dark. And soon you leave behind the dome that Finn has summoned into being to keep the rest warm and safe. It's a cool spring night, clear sky, and all of the scents of the forest absolutely overwash your senses. It's just like last night after the ritual. Tell me, as you're sprinting through the forest, what would the two of you like to do? How do you envision this going for you?
Paco.
Yes!
Tell me what that means.
You know, bouncing off trees.
Nice.
Doing as best cool tricks as we can.
Okay. Athletics or acrobatics checks from both of you then, whichever strategy you're taking for this. Rain at disadvantage, you're definitely drunk.
Did she make it? Did all of us make it through the 3 gallons?
It's 4 gallons, and that depends on how committed you were to the cause. Broccoli on it.
That's some crazy wolf parkour in plate mail. Oh, not in plate mail. That's why
No.
you're so dry.
Buck wild naked. Okay, 24 is the first go. Let's see how. Let's see if Ale has anything to say about it.
Pretty good.
Pretty good still. 19. Both of you with 19s, right?
Paco.
Okay. Broccoli, with your slightly greater speed, I think, given Rain's size, I could be wrong about that. You're easily able to serve as kind of a centerpiece for whatever it is Rain is trying to do. A ready anchor for any of Rain's tricks if she's moving around. But with a 19, you both do really well. So tell me, what does that look like?
I am just running up the side of trees and bouncing off them to the other tree and then bouncing and then seeing if there's a rock and trying to get ahead. And I'm imagining like Broccoli's getting ahead for a bit and then me following and like we're doing that.
Yeah, tag team.
I'm pretty sure this is a scene in Twilight.
The anime close-ups. You're just not sparkling.
It's amazing to test this out.
Yeah.
And I'm just doing it. I'm continually singing an instrumental like montage music, like like that the whole time.
So it's coming out of this growling wolf snout.
And I'm just going,
Rain and Broccoli, you can both hear and also smell when the wind changes that there is a family of deer who has picked up your scent and is sprinting to get away from you, hearing you coming. And they're bounding up ahead, just at the edge of your dark vision.
We don't have dark vision.
That's
So
right.
You mean like we can smell them? We probably can't see
Yeah,
them.
no, you're right. Neither of you have dark vision, even when you're in your hyperform. Jeff, never mind. You're just running through the dark, using that moonlight as best you can. Which means that like it feels epic to both of you, I'm sure. It would just look slightly less so zoomed out and with lights on. But we don't need to worry about that.
Oh, the goofiest wolves ever.
Still objectively terrifying. Like just imagine being those deer.
Or a peasant hunter.
Yeah. Some poor squirrel or owl is like up in a tree just looking down like watching this go by. Like, oh, we better not let anyone go downstairs tonight, honey.
I am going to try and like grab a creature if I can as we do it. Like if I happen to like parkour near a rabbit or there's an owl or a bird or whatever, I'll just try and grab it.
Okay, if you make a survival check with disadvantage, make it a straight roll because you have advantage on smell checks. So if you get a bit lucky and cross the path of something, you can have a go at it.
All right. Oh yeah.
Brockley, are you doing the same?
Nah, I don't think I'm hunting anything. I'm
Okay.
happy just running around at this stage.
Rain, at one point, as you're parkouring off of a tree, and you land on Brockley's furred haunches high up during one of his own leaps, you manage to get a leap, like a double jump off of his leap. And by pure luck and perfect timing, an owl is flying across your path, and you just, boom, grab it out of the air, and there's this poof, burst of feathers. As even though it was going silently by, you were just like reflex, bam, got it. And you have a mouthful of owl now as you're running along, making your landing.
Nice. And I grab the blood and I like wipe it across my face, and then like I manage to like wipe it across Broccoli's face as well if he lets me.
You let that happen, Brockley?
I'm sure, yeah. I'm up for it.
Okay. When you breathe in, the first deep breath you take as you're sprinting ahead with this owl blood, you hear the last of its blood song. Just as you heard Rain's voiced in her own blood and your blood during that ritual when you transformed, you can hear the music of the owl's blood when you smell it and taste it. And it has a distinct sound, a kind of a keening, almost melancholy, serene, and you just have it for just a moment of that melody, and then it fades as the last of it flickers out of your awareness.
Given that this has happened, Budge is going to do one other very small thing whilst he's also like tanning the dragon hide.
Mm-hmm.
He has taken Rain's clothes that were thrown at him, and he's taken the light sort of baby blue dye that he's got for the smoke signals that he makes, and he is dyeing what he can of Rain's clothes this lovely, cute little baby blue in like a bucket. And he's just sort of tipped it into that. And so for however long Rain's gone, it's going to be soaking in that.
Yeah, that makes sense. How long do you stay out, Brockley and Brain? Broccoli and Rain.
Broccoli in the brain.
Which one's the genius?
While I'm out there, after I'm thinking about the owl song, and I think to Alora. Alora, tell Finn, a note to Finn. We should work Blood Song into a musical. Blood Song. Write that down.
Okay.
Do you have any more adventures you'd like to go on out there as you sprint semi-blindly through the moonlit wood?
What is it, Rain?
I do want to see how far I can fall and land on all fours.
What is thy record so far?
Well, I have jumped off you and landed on all fours, and a house. I jumped off a house and broke the soldier's neck and landed.
Aye.
And I flew through the air and tripled and dived with control. I feel as if I could jump 3 stories down and land.
Is there a tree near here that is tall and thou could test in increments how far thou can fall and still land with surety?
I will try this one.
Okay.
Small increments though, Rain. Start just taller than thou hast done before.
Alright. So I climb up 1 story.
So about 10 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a leap. Okay. Make an acrobatics check. $13. Okay. From 10 feet up, you managed to land just fine. Oh, actually, this should be with disadvantage.
I know, but it's usually with advantage.
Is it? Oh, because you're wolfed out?
No, I'm lying.
Yeah. Would have been nice. It's very believable.
Seems like something you'd have.
Yeah, it really does.
I think she gets advantage with everything because she's drunk.
She definitely thinks it. Okay, with a 9, it's only 10 feet up, so it's not really that big of a deal for you. But you do not land gracefully. You face plant after you land on your 2 feet and then a third, and then you just kind of crumple on your face, sort of slide across the dirt a bit.
Oh, Rain, art thou well?
I haven't seen you at all, and I just go straight back up and go to 2 stories.
Okay, Rain. Make another acrobatics check with disadvantage.
Say something cool before thou jumpest.
Geronimo?
I know not what it means, but it sounds appropriate.
Okay, seems okay. What happens next?
Bombed away!
18. Okay. You're 20 feet up, but you managed to do a really good job of mitigating your position, which means you're only going to take 1d6 of fall damage, which is 5, which you will cut in half to 2 because you are wolfed out. So take 2 points of bludgeoning damage, please.
Oh, that looked better, but sounded worse, Rain. It looked more stylish on the landing, and yet I feel I heard a snapping sound.
It is but one little finger. Brockley, will you have a go?
Oh, but I know not. And I weigh more than thee, and I'm sure that I have learned that if things weigh more, they fall quicker and harder. That is physics. This is a lesson well learned. If thou art heavier, thou shalt drop with more velocity. Simple facts, Rain.
You are
Whereas
so
thou art light
learned.
and thou shalt fall with lightness. Whereas I am heavy and shalt with much speed drop, and but I shall give it a go to see at least one story. I must have at least one story in me.
Aye, for you are almost one story yourself.
You're gonna jump off a tree, Brockley?
Aye, just one story, just to get a feel for it.
Sure. Make your acrobatics check.
Acrobatics. Oh, that's much worse than athletics. Boo. Doesn't matter. It's all good.
Broccoli, you leap and you feel this newfound vigor in your limbs. And when you do, you have this almost preternatural sense of the direction the ground is. And then immediately right yourself. When you land, you time it perfectly. You don't have that usual clink of your armor slowing you down. You feel lithe and powerful. And you hit a perfectly soft patch of earth. And your claws dig in slightly. And you feel something in one of your paws, clenching. You pull your hand out of the earth, and there's a little mole. You just landed straight on it and happened to grab it through the earth. It's in your hand. Up to you what you do from that point.
I whispered to them all. Did you see that? That was pretty cool. Go tell your friends.
This little rodent is just like in your hand. The world just collapsed around it and it pulled up to face you. Yeah, it scurries off into the earth.
Well, that felt real good.
Will you try to?
One story a night. That is my limit. Next.
Brace you.
Oh.
I'm just gonna brace Brockley back.
Okay. Do you want to race?
Fuck off. Yes.
Yes.
Then make. Okay. You've been away for a little bit. So the way we'll do this is it'll be in 3 rounds. You'll go athletics check versus athletics check. Best 2 out of 3 wins the race.
Athletics check. Wait, do I have disadvantage on this?
Yes.
Ooh, it's hard to beat in a running race.
Rain? Even with disadvantage, we'll see.
No.
Where's that second one?
It's coming.
Yeah. Not so lucky. Okay, so that's 25-6, round 1. Winner, Brockley. Second round. Let's see those dueling athletics checks. Brockley is out to a commanding lead, just legs pumping, all fours at times, just doing these big bounding leaps, almost like a deer himself.
Doom, 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom.
Rain with a 10. Broccoli, have you seen your second? There it comes. Ooh.
Down, down,
And the lead begins to widen. But you can hear Broccoli's song from up ahead, hauntingly getting louder and louder.
I'm gonna start like calling Web Sebastian as loud as I can and see if Web Sebastian comes and talks to me.
Okay, Webastian is not far away. Make an animal handling check with disadvantage to see. Are you trying to get a ride? Or you tell me what you're doing.
I'm gonna ask him if he can shoot some web onto Broccoli so that I can just use it to like sail behind him.
Okay.
Up onto his back.
You're sprinting along. Oh, I'm sorry. You want Webastian to Spider-Man you to Broccoli.
Yeah.
Okay. So you would have disadvantage because drunk, but I would give you advantage otherwise because that's awesome. And Webastian would be excited by it. So just a straight roll.
Yeah,
What
that's
is this roll
13.
for? Is this for persuasion?
Animal handling.
That's fine too. Okay. Webastian is scuttling along beside you and like sort of cocks his many-eyed head. And then gives the spider equivalent of a shrug, leaps, and then does this thing, like you lose sight of Webastian for a second as you're running, and then you feel him. That's what has happened, is he has waited until there were 2 trees just close enough together that you run between, and Webastian leaps up, affixes 2 spider legs to either tree, and then swings like a pendulum, collecting you in his abdomen and then shooting a web forward at Brockley. We're going to see if he makes contact.
That is some Looney Tunes.
It is nonsense. I'm not saying it's going to work. Yeah, it's definitely not. Oh, actually, without any armor on, what is your armor class, Brockley? It might actually hit.
How do I know?
It would normally just be 10 plus your dexterity, I think. Unless it's, I think it's 10.
Okay.
And you might get one extra because of hybrid form.
Yeah, so just 10.
Okay. So that would make it 11, which means a 12 does hit. Okay. Now, there's another stage to this process. Rain, you are affixed now to a bit of web. As you like sort of land on it, it's like you can hold it between your legs as you land. Bastion's got to let you go in order to detach the web. Now I need you to make an acrobatics check with disadvantage because drunk, to see if you can ride this web to try to land on Brockley.
Oh, come on.
you do get to re-roll ones.
I did. I re-rolled. I rolled twice, and the first one was 13, and then that one was 6.
Oh, but it was a natural
re-roll
one, wasn't it?
Yeah, you can roll that one again.
Which means you're a halfling. You can re-roll a 1, even if it's on the disadvantage thing. You get to re-roll that 1.
Oh yeah, halfling.
Although I do still think the lowest number. Okay, it is now an 8. Okay, Brockley, at your full speed, you're hearing of people of rain running behind you, getting slowly more distant, and there's a silence for a weird moment. And then you get this like Doppler effect of rain just flinging past you for a moment. Just like as like this web thuds into your back, Brockley, where the rest of the web is, and rain just keeps going past you for a second until the web goes taut again, and then the two of you are attached to each other, but Rain is ahead of you on the ground. Rain, that didn't go so well. You are going to take some bludgeoning damage. Take 5 points. That's 10 divided by 2 for your hybrid form. And then Brockley, you're going to be running past, but the two of you are tethered together by this web at this point. So what you do with that is up to you. But Brockley, you will win the race, having won 2 out of 3. You arrive back at camp, stuck together by Web-Bastion's web, with Web-Bastion strutting in rather proudly behind you.
We also have blood on our face, and I have feathers in my fur.
Yes, all of this is true. That is what walks back into the dome with the rest of you.
Oh, Brockley, that is a night.
That's good. That was earned a drink, Rain. That was worked up a thirst.
Alora, did thou guard it with your life?
Without even looking up, she'll just hand the jug back to Rain and say, "Went well then." Going with a repairs.
Rain just starts drinking.
Okay.
Budge will start drying the clothes. Or like hang the clothes out to dry over the fire.
I head over to Finn to talk about how, the blood song and how we can use it in a show.
Oh, hello, Brockley. Yes, Alora was telling me something about this blood song.
Yeah, the sound, the feeling of a creature's life force. It's got a music to it, Finn, that I feel like we could showcase on the stage. And Finn, only thee could capture it. I know it.
I'll have to think about it more, Brockley. I have an idea brewing. Maybe it would work well.
I can feel my hour starting to run out, so I'm starting to look for my clothes.
Yeah, you'll find them eventually. Very wet, hanging up wherever Budge has hung them nearby camp.
Yeah, they're easy to find.
Yeah. And very blue. Although it's
They
probably
wash
hard for
your
you to see
clothes
that
with
at this
rain.
point.
They're just hanging up.
Wow, Budge. I can't. I did not think you would do something like that for me.
Well, they landed in something nasty, so I thought I'd just clean them up for you.
Wow. Thank you.
Oh, Nate, I need no thanks.
No one has
thanks
washed
for a
my
job well done.
clothes since I was but 5 before my parents died in the fire. Oh.
Right.
Budge, this is a kindness. This is the sort of thing that builds camaraderie within the camp, Budge. Well done to thee. Look, all come, look. Look what Budge has done.
I've washed Rain's clothes.
What kindness here. These simple acts herein bind us together. Unasked has he done this. Rain, returning with the sweat of the wolf on her brow and the blood of the owl still fresh on her face, now has cleaned clothes to keep her most content. Oh, Budge! Thou art
I am
good.
not so sure how clean they are, for as you can see with thine own eyes, it is so dark here I could not see the pool in which I cleaned them, so perhaps they did gather some strange material on them. So give them a check before they do put them on, for I don't know, perhaps something happened. So I did my best. I'm sure they smell at least better.
Aye, they smell wonderful. Thank you, Budge. Look at us, friends.
Yeah, it is good. This is the sort of thing that would have happened in the antiquities that I used to watch, the romantic comedies.
Time for bed. We've got to travel in the morning.
All right.
The only difference being that one of them would have washed them as a prank, to cause mischief, not out of a kindness. That is where this situation differs from the antiquities.
If there's a dome, Budge's in it.
Yeah. And you may retire there for the evening, where I presume Rain at least is going to need to do some sleeping off of the
Rain finds Peeves wherever Peeves is and just sleeps with Peeves.
Peeves looks a bit skeptically at Rain at first, kind of sniffing the air, and then just sort of like, oh well. Yeah. It's that dog thing of rolling over to the other side and just dealing.
Third night, buddy. Third night.
And under the dome, and in the spot that you have picked, your night will pass smoothly. Finn is awake for the last 4 hours as per usual, just very softly plucking away on a lute, mostly just kind of staring off, thinking. You may click through that your long rest has taken place, and it is the morning of the 20th of Snowbreak. Let's see. The weather is cloudy and a little bit cool, but kind of damp. Like it might rain a little bit later on, but we could hold off. Hard to tell. If you would like, Budge, you can make your customary survival roll with advantage to see what kind of timing you all make today on travels.
Do his
Budge!
Hey, that way.
Rain just starts running at Budge for her bellies a baby brew, and in the bright sunlight she can see them.
Brockley,
Hi, Laura.
dost thou care to greet the day with us today?
Yeah.
Well, I know not where Rain is. She hath run, and Budge hath taken fleet of foot. I shall wait until we are gathered therein to speak to thee all.
Right.
And in his head, I'll just say, Budge, can you lead Rain back, please?
Budge will carefully stealth his way back.
Okay, so is this a hide and seek or a chase at this point? This is my question.
If I could lose her, I would.
Okay, Budge, make a stealth check, and Rain, if you're hunting him, make a survival check. Which you can do at advantage if you're smelling for him.
Oof. Not my
Mhm.
best.
Oh. Okay. Rain, you get to roll one more time. If you beat a 13, you spot him. Hits it, gets it. Okay.
Wait, but who's doing what, right? Because it's like I'm hiding from her, but she's
Yeah.
trying to find me.
Correct. So whoever's was higher, perception or stealth, was going to be the victor of that situation. But you tied, which I suppose I'm treating like armor class or saving throw rules, which is that at some point, Budge, after creeping your way tree to tree and hearing rain coming behind you, a twig snaps. There's that moment where Rain looks up in her blue clothes and sees you like Sasquatching between two trees, and then it's whatever happens. If Rain chases you, you can run. What goes down, Rain?
Budge.
Right. So, I think it's a wonderful color. Does Thea not think that? No?
Rain just shakes her head and walks back to camp.
Oh. High grounding it.
Budge takes true satisfaction in this moment. Finally getting to Rain is on his bucket list.
The two of them will eventually make it back to Camp Brockley.
Oh, Rain! Thy clothes are most striking on the eye. Thou art as the sky. Oh, I've ne'er seen thee dress better.
Indeed, Rain, this is a colour most suited to thy complexion. Thou lookst well, friend.
I look 12.
You look well.
Oh.
And well might we all feel well on this day. Or is this not the beginning of our epic trip to the wood's most moonlit? Budge's home calls us ever onward there. The safety that rests within his heart shall be ours to sup upon, and we shall meet those that he calls family. For are we also not Budge's family, and shall we not kinship there find within these woods? And with the moon so named for these woods, and here the wolf within the cane band so tied to the moon, are we not connected in ways most numerous? And this journey beckons us on, friends, and we shall find new friends to call our own, and we shall upon a stage perform for them and show them what we are. A cane band, a band most magical. Theatrical endeavors flow through our veins, and they shall feast their eyes upon our wares. And at the end of this production, shalt thou not clap for us? Aye. Shalt thou not cheer for us? Aye. And shalt thou not say, this show that we have seen this day was the magical cane band in full flight, as a bird in a blue sky, blue as rain's close herein, taking flight, and so shall we too take flight this day and march on to our destiny, good cane band. March on to our destiny.
That's Brockley.
Aye.
I don't think we can hear you, Adam.
And I do hope
Most
they give us
inspiringly led.
5 stars.
How can they
thank you.
not?
Thank you, as always, for that, Brockley. And take your temporary hit points. How many do they get, Rick?
10.
10.
10?
Not nothing
It's
at all.
going up.
Yeah.
It went up when I leveled up.
Yep. It is quite a feat. Quite a feat indeed. All right. Budge, with your survival check from before, today's going to be a little bit more interesting going. It's a gray day, and it's a little bit damp in the area that you've gone in, so the ground's a bit muckier. Maybe it rained in this region overnight. So you're going a bit slower. Around about midday, the terrain around you starts to change. you begin to see more hills, and your journey takes on more of a kind of gradual incline. And there, more and more, are kind of rocky outcroppings sticking out. The trees also change from the kind of deciduous trees of the lowlands to more pines, conifers and cedars and things like that. You also, at one point, Budge, Peeves kind of goes alert for a moment.
Dear boy.
And just like stares straight up into a dense patch of branched area of a tree.
I'll draw an arrow.
Peeves barks loudly once, and there's a of feathers as two owls leap off from the branch,
I'll try
flying
and
in
snag
different directions. Yeah, okay. Make an attack roll.
Just given that we've had some magical owl business in the past.
Mm-hmm. That seems
Miss
to
the
be
owl, but you kill a dragon.
seems to be what piqued Peeves. Yeah, dead hit. You don't have to roll damage. You pincushion this owl, which seems to be just sort of like a normal tawny owl, as it lands on the ground not too far away, with your arrow still having impaled it. Brockley, you smell a familiar smell.
Since I have a since I'd just be doing it in the moment, and since I have the feat, I have the sharpshooter feat, which means that I do not have disadvantage at my max range for the longbow, which is 600 feet.
It's a long way.
I will try and take a shot at the second bird as well.
Okay, at this stage, the problem is not likely to be range, but visibility, because you're in a wooded area and it's taken flight through the branches, gone its speed. But you can take your second shot. It will have at least partial, if not 3/4 cover.
Okay.
But yeah, they make an attack roll.
I'll do a steady shot. That's right. So I'll take the extra
Yourself
6 seconds.
advantage. Yeah. Yeah,
fair.
that'll do. You pick a moment just when the owl seems to think it's gotten out of danger, and it sort of wheels back to make a flying circle highward. You pick your spot right through a gap in the trees and just dead-eye it. And it drops, although some distance away.
Right, were they even magic owls? As I'll say that out loud as we sort of get close over to it.
All owls are sort of magic, dost thou not think? They have a magical quality to them, a wisdom.
But I would feel bad if these were just the regular magical owl. But
Could it be that the magical
careful.
cane band has a vendetta against owls? We seem to be killing them at an outrageous rate at the moment.
Oh, owls, snakes, people, nobles, soldiers, guards. We have a vendetta against many a creature.
We had just thought to pivot into bird-based theatrical endeavors where the birds would be our key audience demographic, and now here we are, almost deliberately
Is a bad
sabotaging.
owl.
I'll send the boat over in the direction we saw the second one fall.
Yeah. You will discover it there, very much impaled upon an arrow, having broken its way through some foliage. It's lying bloodied on the ground.
It'll just sit above it as a beacon.
Mhm.
Yep.
As far as you can tell, Budge, these seem to be normal, everyday owls.
Well, I'll take them anyway to use the feathers for fletching arrows.
Mhm.
I'll just string them
Ooh.
up. Back.
Ooh. I am so glad you have a bow and arrow, Budge, to catch owls.
Thanks. Are you all right, Rain? You see me a little bit blue.
I might not realize this, Budge, but that is funny because her clothes are here in blue, and thou hast referred to her mood as being blue, which matches the color of her clothes. What happenstance is this?
What happenstance?
Rain
Perhaps-
just walks ahead and keeps having to adjust her position because she's looking the wrong direction.
Could we hollow these owls out and use them as glove puppets for a theatre show where one of the owls talk to each other? We thrust our hands up inside them and get them to talk. Just an idea.
Well, perhaps you talk to one of my kin. For Simri's quite good at crafting things, and I think maybe you should ask him. But I'm not so adept at hollowing out an owl to use as a puppet. I've not embarked upon that particular journey myself.
Seems like survival 101, Budge, hollowing out an owl.
And this is something on this particular occasion that I will also choose not to tinker.
Oh, Broccoli. Budge can tan a hide of a dragon, but make a puppet from an owl. Oh, too hard.
Oh, well, dragons are a larger, less intricate operation, Rain. An owl, to hollow that out takes a finer hand, and perhaps Budge is just not as skilled at the delicate operations. He likes a larger canvas therein to work upon.
All right.
Okay, I prefer to, as you say, paint with a different brush and with different colors.
We should do an art class. Just putting it out there. This is a bonding exercise one day, but when we've got some time to kill in a town.
Aye. Brockley, what are the, and as we're sort of still moving, what are thine favourite colour?
Oh, my color. Oh,
Rain
There's
cannot
always-
hold it back anymore. She full wolfs out and punches Budge with all of her might.
Budge is not surprised. He's going to try and run.
Okay, all right. So then I'll say, Rain, make your attack roll.
Wait, I haven't hit anything in a long time. Do I just roll a 20?
So if you see your unarmed strike on the D&D Beyond actions, you can click that. It should be a D20 plus your Dex plus proficiency. So it's probably plus 6 or 7 by this point.
Oh, yeah.
How sad she was. I haven't heard anything in a while.
Yeah.
Just my pride.
Gonna punch Budge for the fun of it.
14. Budge, what's your AC?
That's my AC.
Is it exactly? Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Budge, you see it coming and you're trying to get out of the way, but Rain is full bore coming at you. Roll your damage, Rain.
There's no chance for me to cunning action dodged or anything.
Oh, no. I didn't have you roll for initiative. I was just like, if the
Okay.
attack hits, we'll consider
Okay.
that the end of the first thing. So take
Yeah.
your 4 points of punching damage. At this
God,
point, though,
knock the
you can
speech out of me.
absolutely do what you need to do to distance yourself, whatever that might be.
I'll
What does
just
Budge do?
keep a wary, dodging around now as we continue to go forward. But Budge is laughing.
Okay.
And Rain's walking along, kind of bristled because she's full werewolf now.
And I'm just ruminating on colors that Budge asked me. I'm like,
Oh, red was crimson red was one of my favorites. And now that it has the color of blood, I am quite fond of it.
And Rain, thy favourite colour?
Rain takes another swipe.
I'm definitely dodging.
Yeah. So you'll be doing it at a disadvantage because Budge is taking the dodge action.
And yet the green of the forest has always had an allure to me. Oh, the foliage, so deep and green.
You gotta get lower than that.
Yeah, that armor.
If
The
it
real
wasn't
bummer.
Happy I thought.
Could have been a crit. Okay, you're gonna get some damage again, Budge, unless you start running. Roll your damage again, Rain.
And yet there is a specific orange of the sunset that has always spoken to me, the way it dapples in the evening sky.
There's 6 points of punch in the ribs damage.
Hey, I'm back at. I've lost my temp hit points.
Yeah, you're uninspired. Are you staying close, Budge?
Yeah, still trying to I'm running ahead, but I still like to. I don't want to slow the progress of travel.
Yeah.
But I'm running just far enough ahead that everyone can still hear, know the direction that you need to go. And I imagine Peeves is doing a lot of the leading at this point as well, if he knows the direction we're traveling. But Budge will just yell after I'm not sure where Rain was punching him, but rubbing a bruise, which would be like, me myself, I'm starting to really like the color blue.
And if Budge is staying well enough ahead, both with his speed and all that stuff, it's going to be very hard, Rain, for you to get within swinging distance of him again, unless he actually just lets you. But
and I have noted at least 49 different shades of grey that have a poetry to them. I'm always on the lookout for more, though. I'm sure there are.
As you're nearing evening, the sun begins to set at the location where you are in the world. The shade of the Dawn Guard hits you earlier, and it gets a bit dark a bit earlier than it normally would, because the sun goes behind the peak at this time of year. So it gets a bit cooler a little bit earlier. But you can still see well enough, it's just dimmer earlier. But as the sun sets on this day, the 20th of Snowbreak, Budge, it takes you and Peeves a little bit longer to find a good campsite, and no doubt in part, I'm sure, due to needing to avoid rain on occasion.
I think Budge is going to try and sleep in a tree. This night. He's going to try and climb as high as he can.
Fair.
And tie himself up to a tree.
Okay. You can definitely do that.
I pull out my water blow gun.
Do you have that?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
What?
That is week 2 business.
Yeah. They gave Rain a water pistol toy.
Yeah.
Funny.
And I just climb up the tree near Budge and just every now and then squirt him in the ear or in the eye, just a little bit of water, just to be annoying, and then just sit there watching him.
So you've got a Rain just at the base of your tree.
And rounding out my top 100 colors, aquamarine. Yeah, that's a tough one, but aquamarine just squeezes in over burnt umber. Unlucky to miss out burnt umber, but doesn't make the top 100 this time.
With your camp established, you can again set up your night however you choose. We know Budge is going to try to sleep in a tree. Rain, are you?
Budge, do you think I cannot climb trees? Why I up a tree? Do you think I am a dog?
I mean, sometimes they are like a dog.
I am a wolf. A wolf is different from a dog. No offense, P.
Aye, but a wolf is not so different from a dog as, I don't know, a bird is from a dog.
Well, at least
somewhat
I am
similar.
not a spaghetti-armed.
A spaghetti-armed?
Yeah, you are a spaghetti-armed. Your arm is a spaghetti.
Did you see when he tried to do the chin-ups? He couldn't even do one. The little skinny little arms he's got. So long, and yet so flaccid.
I could do one. I could very much do one. And Budge he's resisting it so much. He's looking at the potion of fire strength and he's I could do 100, should I wish.
Oh, yeah, you can't even kill an owl with your bare hand like I did the other night. You need a bow and arrow. You have no strength apart from your tools.
Ooh, I've never so much been conflicted between what I know my character would do and what I know is so suboptimal and a waste. Can I make like a wisdom save?
If you want, yeah, sure. How?
I feel like this taunt, it cannot be just my decision.
Yeah, okay. You want to set a number? You want me to?
I'd say it's like a 10. I'd say it's like a 10 charisma save, just for Budge's pride.
Do it. Let's see what you get.
Like, it's not crazy, but there's a chance.
Flip of the coin. Flip of the coin. Send Rain spaghetti arms in from down below. Did you do charisma save?
Charisma save.
Yep, I thought you were doing wisdom. That's fine. Okay, Budge.
Budge is gonna drink the potion.
The impressive gods have smiled upon us this day.
He's gonna try and do it sneakily.
Yeah.
Like, he's up this tree, so I imagine like maybe he can shift so that they can't see him.
Yeah, I'm not gonna make you roll for it because you're up high and it's pretty easy to obscure with your big old bugbear body and the tree trunk.
I am also running around the tree going like this. I'm not looking.
So Budge has a strength score currently of 25.
Which means any strength-based check, you'll have, what is it, a +5 on a 20, so +7? Is that right?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, +7.
Yeah, plus whatever proficiency bonuses if you have them in a given skill.
In athletics, yeah. So it'd be +8. Budge will drop to the ground and say, "Right then, Rain and Brockley, if thee shall put thine money where thy mouth is, let's do a pull-up contest."
Oh, yes! Yes!
Oh, Budge, this is most unnecessary. Thou hast naught to prove here. We have seen thy spaghetti arms and wish not to, put them on display once more.
Right, let's do it now.
How long do you have, Budge?
1 hour.
Oh, okay. Plenty of time. How do you set up your pull-up contest?
Budge will just simply place the rod of holding into the air, straight up, and say, "I shall go first."
All right.
And he will attempt to pull up.
Budge, make an athletics check.
God, please don't fuck me, guys. I can't have done this for nothing.
I will say, having a base score of 25 changes what those DCs mean.
Okay.
The standard has changed, but you still need to roll to determine just how this proceeds.
Now, I should say as well, like, Budge has I don't know if this makes a difference, Budge has the powerful build.
Which means your carrying capacity is the size of a large
and
creature.
I don't know if he's carrying himself, so I don't know if that makes a difference. But
It's like, physically speaking, that comparison makes sense, although drag weight and carrying weight are measured a little bit differently, but I don't think it's going to be a problem either way, because you rolled well anyway. Rain and Brockley, you see Budge clicks that rod into place with determination in his eyes, and Budge, you feel, having drunk this potion, heat. Like your insides are on fire, but it doesn't burn. It's like you got to use your muscles or you're gonna explode. Yeah, and Buzz just starts perfect form, just cranking, just absolutely smashing pull-ups. Goes one-armed, back to two, switches arms.
What a display is this? Look at him go!
Whoa! We could use this in the show!
This display is most impressive. These arms we thought were spaghetti-like, and yet they have much strength within them.
Oh.
I wish to punch something.
Budge's muscles actually look a bit ripped. Like, and it's like maybe you just haven't been looking at them the right way. Like, his silhouette is bulkier. He seems a bit more cut when he moves. You gonna punch something, Budge?
Sure, I'll punch a tree. I feel like there's this rush of adrenaline, but just taking some magical steroids.
Yeah, basically. Make an unarmed. Well, what is this really measuring? Make a strength saving throw, given your new strength.
Sure.
Business.
So that's okay.
So you have a plus 7 to strength.
I have a plus 11, I think, because I have proficiency in strength saves.
Right. Yeah. Big one. Budge turns and finds a tree nearby and just boom, throws this long arm bugbear punch. And Budge, you actually do splinter some of the bark where you hit, and you all hear a crack. Kind of like
family of owls falls out dead
in the center of this kind of narrower tree. And Budge, it stings, but you're not taking damage from it. Basically, you managed to bear up and hit it just so that you cause some damage to this tree without it hurting you.
Oh, hey, Budge, hey, settle down, big guy. Oh, hey. Jeez.
I have an idea how you can get out that aggression. Throw me up!
All right. I'll poise to like.
Yep. You have a willing participant. Please make an athletics check with advantage.
Oh.
Rain knows how to get thrown, and it makes a difference.
Can Finn and I see this? We know they're nearby.
Oh yeah, this is making a lot of noise.
We're watching.
24. Okay, Rain. You don't even see the first 10 feet of this toss. You're going that quickly. It's like a whoa, there I am, and then you kind of slow down, and you're just like way up.
When she gets to the peak of it, I'll cast Featherfall and shake my head.
And then at the zenith of that, you suddenly just begin drifting downward. And Budge, you're like ready to catch, and it's like a weird thing because Rain just sort of like glides down instead.
And I'll look at Finn over my mug of today's tea and say, I think they would notice if we just went back to Ost.
I think, good Alora, that it would take a good day and a half. Perhaps we best not test it.
I'm just gonna like continue his like heavy breathing.
Can I do one-arm push-ups, Budge? Can I do one-arm push-ups?
You definitely can.
Oi.
Yeah, just smashing them out.
Broccoli!
Oi! I'll just put my hands out.
Okay, Brockley, you on board for this?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see his strength tested.
Okay, give it a go, Budge.
Oh, is it with advantage again? Because the willing participant?
Yeah, sure. I will look. Broccoli's probably not as good at getting thrown as Rain is, but that's fine. With a 20, Broccoli, first of all, when you sort of lean back to like let Budge kind of fireman carry you, because physically he honestly can't like put his hands beneath your arms and throw you like with Rain.
I do have a 10-foot reach.
That's true. That's true. You do. Okay. You can give it a go that way. So Budge's hands get up under your armpits, and you're like, oh, okay, all right, fine. And then you feel this surge of upward momentum as Budge like just deadlifts you up into the air. And Broccoli, you actually go like 5-6 feet into the air and are like floating for a second and then drop back down to the earth.
I'll try and catch him, like, you know when like an adult throws like a toddler.
Yeah. But you're able to like sort of basically like guide him. Like a full catch at that way is kind of tough, but you like his feet hit the ground and you've like slowed his fall as a result.
Again.
right.
And this can proceed for a little while, but it's just like chucking Brockley up into the air a little bit.
I will say at the end of this hour, Budge is gonna full on just pass out.
Yeah. When the end of that hour comes, Budge, it is like getting just hit by a horse. Like it kind of overcomes you, this heat that's been burgeoning inside of you and just bristling at your muscles edges. It just like a fire going out, and you feel heavy. You can all see Budge just sort of trudge slowly back over to camp to where Alora and Finn are. Or unless you're still planning on sleeping in a tree. It's up to you, Budge.
That was
amazing. That was incredible.
We have underestimated thee this whole time, Budge.
And I hope I should not have to prove it to thee again.
Nay. I shall not doubt your strength.
Ne'er shall we doubt it. And we shall use thee now for all our strength-based needs.
Hi.
Thou hast proven thyself easily the strongest of us all.
Aye.
In his head, I'll just ask Budge, do I even want to know?
I'll just reply, nay. Tis a shameful moment. A moment for I am not proud.
I did think, which is why I thought to have this conversation with thee in thy head.
I thank thee for that, Allura. And I'll say, they should hold the potion of clairvoyance from now on. Lest they call me stupid.
And I'll just hand them a mug of today's tea.
I'll try and pass the other potion at the same time.
Yeah, Rain and Brockley are behind a bit, so they won't see this transaction happening.
Yep.
You can bed down for the evening, and I reckon now is a good time. It is about 9 o'clock for us to take our break. We'll take 15 minutes. So at 1:15, we shall return. So if you're watching here live with us, please stand up, get a bit of a stretch, make yourself some tea. We shall return anon for a little bit more Shakespearean D&D. See you in a second. And we are back. Welcome back, everyone, to the second half of our session of Bardic Inspiration, Dungeons & Dragons in Shakespearean Style, featuring the Magical Cane Band, who are just coming awake on the 21st of Snowbreak. What a 3 weeks it has been, the Cane Band. 10 days. Yeah, so you can click through your long rests. And the dome will begin to dissolve.
Another day dawns, friends.
This is why we can't fast travel. Because we do like 10 speeches.
Sweet crimson tinges the sky as we herein embark upon a brand new day. Rain, thou can face this day with surety. Thou art short in stature, yet mighty of heart. None could tackle thee, Rain, with this day's fresh optimism in thy eyes and a spring in thy step. For didst thou not fly through the air and as a feather fall safely to the ground, protected by those around thee who would see thee safe? Aye, Alora, thou wouldst sit and watch the foolishness unfold in front of thee, and yet thy never judges, and yet when thy hand is needed to provide safe landing, dost thou not provide it? For thou art kind, and thou art wise, and thou wouldst keep us safe. Good Budge! Thy arms, we did think they lacked the strength to hold thee, and yet now I fear they has the strength to hold us all. Thy arms are rich cacophony of power, volcanic explosiveness dost thou have therein thy bicep, sweet guns ready cocked and loaded. I would use thy strength at any endeavor, for the doubts I had are here washed away. Sweet Finn, Thou hast been quiet of tongue, and yet thy heart still sings a song. I know that whilst thou thinkest quietly, thou strums a tune within thy mind, gaining strength for us all. And sweet flea, thou art a book still, and it causes us pain, and yet does a book not need to be carried? And do we all not require carrying from time to time? And so we are all books in our own way, containing wisdom and needing to be carried from time to time. And so shall we all be carried through this day. Onward, friends. Onward.
So a day
Consider
passes.
yourselves inspired. Broccoli, not only for a great speech, but also for taking 2 today. Please take a mode of inspiration, which you may use either sometime the remainder of this session or during next session, if you like. You till then.
But like just uneventful travel, day passes, we wake up the next day.
Actually, Budge,
As the
you would
sun
know.
rises, friends.
That's a formula.
Sunrise.
Let's not pretend like we wouldn't do
for us
that.
to feast our eyes upon. Etc. and so forth. Thou knowest.
Oh boy.
This is the act now. There's no more game. It's called Breakfast with Broccoli. Budge, you can expect to make the Moonwood by today,
Right.
depending
And
on
the
how well
Moonwood-
you get going.
It's like I know there's places we would stay generally within the Moonwood, so it's not like I'm having
Yeah.
to like hunt a vague area.
No.
It's just like get to the Moonwood, get the bearings there, head towards. Is there a specific glade? I think I remember them mentioning.
I think that Ichabod just said go to the Moonwood.
I think
Meet
that's
to the Moonwood, and so because of your family's kind of nomadic lifestyle, you would have sort of established places where you make camp and where your seasonal events are held and things like that. So I'm pretty sure Budge would know. It's part of the calendar.
Keeping an eye on like how the weather has been, and his sort of like loose understanding of the date, would Budge know if he would have missed or been ahead of the day of gleaning?
You would know, Budge, that you are in. It hasn't happened yet,
Okay.
so that festival date would be up ahead. You're closing in because next month. Well, the way you would think of it a little bit differently, but after the coming moon, the day of gleaning usually takes place because it is a month with a blue moon in it. So that is usually around it.
Are we walking?
I'm presuming you are, unless you tell me otherwise. Budge, make your survival check with Peeves in the background while this transpires.
I did forget to bestow some wisdom on thee.
Oh, I would listen.
It is forbidden to create more werewolves.
Bidden thou sayest.
Aye. For if we create too many werewolves that cannot control themselves, we will cause more harm than good.
Must control the power that herein resides within us.
Aye, that is why my family hunted werewolves. For they make werewolves willy-nilly with no control.
I know not how even to make one, so don't tell me. And I shan't.
Aye, I will.
Unless maybe I would accidentally make one and know not that I was doing it, so maybe thou shouldst tell me.
Aye, if you bite a human.
Oh no, don't tell me, don't tell me. No, you should tell me. Thou should definitely tell me.
If you bite a human and then
Aye.
let them live, just as you did, they will turn.
Ah, as I was turned into a werewolf, I should have known. Yeah, the answer was there within me this whole time. I needed merely to look at my own history to find the answers. What if I was to bite an elf instead of a human?
I do not know.
What about a dwarf?
I do not know.
What if I've been a dog?
What about a bugbear?
They are hairy as wolves already, so perhaps partially wolf-like in their endeavors.
But
What if I've been a butterfly?
I do. Oh, can you?
What if I've been a
imagine?
tree? What if I've been a tree?
You can bite a tree; it will not do anything.
A were-tree. Ooh. Rooted to the spot and yet ferocious once a month.
Where are the
Uh,
Budge.
Werewood.
I think we gather close, by the way. Shouldn't take much longer.
Last Eve, you were spectacular. And
Really?
I would just like to say how much I admire thee. And if I had known how much force those arms could give, would I have punched you in the stomach? Nay.
And thee shall not hence. Thank you.
Alora, Alora, did thou see how many chin-ups Budge could do? Budge, show Alora how many chin-ups thou can.
Nay, Alora does not wish to see. Nay, I shall
His
not bore
biceps
Alora.
Ripple, and the strength he can. Just do a couple, Budge. Show.
Nay,
A cheeky 20.
Tis a trivial matter for me, and with one blessed with such imagination as Alora, a trivial matter for Alora to see. So,
Oh, well, but when we need firewood for lunch, you should definitely punch a tree. You should see him punch a tree, Alora. You punch it.
Indeed.
And Laura, as we walk,
Right.
do you mind if I just jump off trees? And then you can catch me with Featherfall.
Unfortunately, Rain, thou wouldst quickly run out of my ability to recast spells and would hurt thyself.
Oh. I will save it for a special occasion.
Alora,
Especially one is actually in peril. Like last night when thou was most high in the air and would have hurt thyself. How didst
Alora.
thou get that high in the air?
Budge did throw me. Budge would have catched me. I believe he is strong enough to.
So strong.
Just wait, Alora. As soon as I get high enough, I will show you how good of a catch he is.
And in Budge's head, I'll just say, You sure I don't want to know?
nay, thee do not wish to know.
Yeah.
Thee might think they want to know, but they do not. We do gather close. Keep an eye out for any of, my kin. You've all met quite a few of them now, or three of them now, I guess.
How
So-
many are there?
Well, some come and some go, but there are my mothers, Esme and Saphira, my gran that you've met, Ichabod, my sister, Zilla, there's me, and then there's my younger brother, Zimri, my younger sister, Helly, which you met, of course, my cousin, Itty, which also you've met, and, well, that's all that's there at the moment.
More the merrier. Honestly, bugbears are the best. Honestly.
Well, who knows? We might be coinciding with. Well, there's a special day that the Virtues have, and that the other nomadic groups around these ranges also have, called the Day of Gleaming.
Are you getting emotional, Budge?
Well, I haven't been back in a while, and
What is this day of gleaming, and is there a feast associated therein?
gleaning, and yes,
Oh.
but I'm not so good with the dates that I wouldn't know. But as we do stir closer, I have to say again that I truly thank thee all, because, well, a year ago I did dream of getting to return home, with my family, all safe and sound, and they wouldn't be without all of you.
Budge.
Laura, Rain, Brockley, Glee, Finn, I wouldn't know what I would have done without you.
Stacks on hug!
Budge, as you finish saying this, and Rain, as you begin to run forward to say stacks on hug, there is a sudden crashing sound from the brambles nearby Budge as a massive form clocks him from the side. Budge, you feel a massive weight hit your side, and you go crashing to the ground, sliding away. Your vision is blurred by dark grays and blacks, and you feel nothing. Everyone else, this huge creature, silently before, has just burst from the bushes and tackled Budge to the side and is now like crashed off the path. And you hear this like this like strange sort of blend of sounds, and Peeve starts going nuts, absolutely nuts, barking and howling.
Budge will wrestle.
Everyone from the side, something the size of a bear has just barreled out of the trees and taken Budge off the path. That is what you see. And then you hear this like rolling sound of the leaves and crunching and crashing in the bushes, and then these deep growls as an owl bear has just tackled Budge. And I don't know if any of you have seen an owlbear besides Budge.
The feathers of Budge's cloak, although a different color, a different like sort of pattern of it. Owlbear feathers, they're quite big.
The owls have sent their champion. Revenge upon us.
An owlbear is a bear-sized creature with a head that looks like an owl's head. It has massive gleaming talons, like claws, and it's like this gray and white plumage all over. It's like the size of a grizzly bear, and makes this like strange bellowing noise that is an odd mix between the shriek of an owl mid-flight and the roar of a grizzly bear. And it has this warbling sound as Lim, a creature that you recognize, Budge, has got you pinned.
I'm
and
trying
then
to fight back, but there's like nothing.
Yeah, no, it's very unlikely that you can, if you want to try to escape, you can in a little bit, but he has got you good and grappled on the ground.
Owlbear's only in Eston, or would I have come across them in my travel?
Make a nature check.
Or I know about it in the book?
Yeah, it's more, that's more likely to be how you know about it if you know about it, Alora.
And I'll just ask Budge in his head, dost thou require assistance, Budge?
Do not interfere. 'Tis a matter of pride.
Alora, you have heard of owlbears before. These are a strange kind of beast whose origins are somewhat unknown. But while some theorize that they might have been the product of some strange occult breeding in many, many, many ages past, they do roam around in mountain forests, especially, and anywhere where there's deep verdant growth. And they reproduce and are, members of the wild for the most part. But you do know that they're extremely dangerous and territorial.
We need not help. Budge's strong arms will see him safely freed.
I shall drink my ale.
Go, Budge.
I do believe it was an owlbear.
Budge, you are
Budge assures me he needs not our assistance.
Look at him. He'll flex the guns in a second, and he shall be free before we can say a word.
Bear will fly.
and turn the grapple into more of like a pat. Like maybe scratch behind the ears.
Lim, holding you still, begins this like great big guttural purr of a kind, where it's like the feathers ruffle from tail up towards head in like these rhythmic patterns with the sound of the growl. And then behind you, you hear a voice. Budge won't be getting up without help anytime soon. another bugbear has silently dropped to the ground from her vantage point in a tree above you, behind you. And in fact, you hear her voice as she's dropping and turn around and watch her land, and there's no sound from the landing. Although you see dust rise and stuff like that from hitting the ground.
Cool.
A bugbear about Budge's height, maybe a little shorter, with kind of gray fur with green tinges throughout, wearing leather armor, a great broad longbow on her back, and a variety of small like knickknacks and trophies, bones, bits of fur, scale, sort of patched together in this hide armor. Otherwise, she is traveling very lightly.
This may be the 50th shade of grey that I was searching for. Ne'er have I seen a grey this shade. I shall lock that in my memory.
Do I need to change the soundtrack right now?
Yeah, it's like the new member to the Harua Troops.
This is your mother, Budge, Saphira, who has apparently been tailing you long enough for this to transpire. And she walks up and makes a kind of like a cross between a whistle and a grunt. It's like a and Lim gives like one last sort of vigorous face nuzzle, like basically slamming your face back into the dirt where you are, and then stands up again, and then flops Budge up onto his back, where you're kind of like a saddle thrown over it, and he starts lumbering back. But Budge's like ankles are over the front of the owlbear and Lim's shoulders, like he's got him upside down, kind of, and just like lumbers over towards the rest of you.
As I go past the family, I'll just like turn to the cane band and she go, "We're here!"
And it's just Saphira standing there. And she looks over the rest of the group and says, "Well, this is about the size of what Nan described, I suppose. You seem to be one short. Or have I misremembered?"
Yeah, no, Rain is the short one. The rest of us are normal size.
You are not normal size. You are large.
I guess on average we are, we even each other out. We are none short.
I offer greetings to thee, and I believe what you are referring to is a misfortune that has befallen one of our number. We can tell thee the tale of it anon.
I am aggrieved to hear such a thing has befallen one of yours. One of Budge's friends. And then she reaches up and just unceremoniously grabs one of Budge's ankles and just like yanks him off the top of Lim to bring him back down to sort of a roughly standing position. And she grabs either side of your shoulders, like through the owlbear cloak, Budge, and like lifts you up so that you're taller than she is. So she like holds you up so that she can look at you, and then brushes your cloak off, and then pulls you in for this crushing hug, and then releases, and then just gives you this vigorous shake. I would have thought I'd have learned thee better than to walk straight into that man's house, as though you could walk straight out with gold to your name and anything other than pure shame. What hast got into thee, Budge, that you think it would be safe for thee, friends or no friends, to go where such as good as your Nan has been kept for more than a year, as much as she been through? You're lucky to be alive, you are.
They got out. Everyone, it was all right in the end.
If we're all right in the end.
It were. Think on it.
It has always been all right in the end thus far, Budge. Until you get to the end.
Nay, never will.
The way you live. I'll never hear the end of it from Iffy, I won't. The story changes every time he tells it, you should know.
For the better, or?
Oh, if you're Iffy, it's for the better, I suppose.
And if you're
I think
Budge?
by the end of it, he must have grown wings and 2 sets of forearms so muscled.
Oh, he helped a lot, did he?
So I'm told, so I'm told.
Fell asleep on the back of a spider, he did.
Is that the way it were?
Oh, it were.
Nan and Helly have been close.
Just
And then Saphira sort of warily regards the giant spider and says, I propose... I must say it is a strange thing for me to be regarding one of your sort with anything other than careful wariness.
Why?
But you're, and then Saphira like looks around and looks straight at Brockley, like as if by instinct, and it kind of does this thing where she like puts a hand up, but is looking at you and looking at Webastion. Like, is it okay? Like that kind of like a look that's asking for permission.
Webastion is a great judge of character. If thy intention is good, thou shalt face no trouble from Webastion.
And she walks up to Webastion and just sort of cocks her head to the side, reaches in to her pack and pulls out a little bag that is writhing in her hands, flips open the bag, pulls out a small creature and pulls something away. And it seems that she has been holding some kind of hooded vole, like a little rodent that has had its mouth stuffed and is still squirming live in her arms. And she looks at Webastion and chucks it to him.
Mm-hmm.
And Webastion just like immediately like goes for it, snatches it, and then is putty in her hands. At that point, she sort of like reaches forward and kind of like pats the bristles.
Bugbears, so cool.
Wondrous. I shall have to speak to the Anon about how you've earned the allegiance of such a creature. Don't know how he's convinced you. In any case, 'tis a good fortune that we have found you. Some of the clans who have stayed here more of late have taken less trust to outsiders.
Oh.
But I happen to be here with Lim. We've been tracking something, and well, I suppose it's far enough afield. We're not amiss in ending our hunt a day early. We can go with you.
Are we far off?
Nay, no, we've just a piece down the old Red Run. We should arrive for end of day. You've made good time, I warrant, if you've come from near Gadmouth or the swamps. Are you at Mother Sawyer's?
Well, that is the question. For Mother Sawyer's ain't where it were once. When we got there, it looked like it had up and left. And I mean that literally, like it had picked itself up on many legs and wandered off, tried to track the great footsteps of whatever beast she had turned her house into. But, well, with destroyed like that, as soon as it takes a step in a river, hard to tell where it pivots to. So we abandoned the trail.
It is almost as if the gods wish us to never have a home.
Oh, rain.
And
Until
then
we get a boat. Until we get a boat to call our own, perhaps.
Saphira turns to you, Rain, and says, there are some what walk this earth who are meant for a home, and some who take home wherever they roam. Such a ones are we. But for this season at least, we do our home make here in the Moonwood, or just beyond. We hope that you shall find it is homely enough for your liking. Show you some true hospitality. I can promise you it will have a number of different flavors. I hope you're prepared to taste.
Now,
And she
one of-
begins to stride off. Yeah, what were you saying? Sorry.
I was just going to ask her a question, but if she's walking, we'll follow
Oh,
her.
she'll stop and turn if she sees you're talking to her.
Hast thou one among thy number who is a tinkerer of sorts, or maker or mender of things for while we are here? If not, I'm very happy to offer such simple services as I have to repair anything that thou dost need. There is one item that I care greatly to tinker whilst here, if possible, that will assist Budge in being stealthy and for us to hide a particular item that we need to, but I'm happy whilst doing so to repair any other things that will assist thee to repay thy hospitality.
Alora, was it?
Indeed.
You may have finished that thought at I am useful, for that is what I have heard from thee. I am certain we will find folk in need of your skills and perhaps those who can complement them. Gleaning day approaches, Budge.
I did see it in the tracking of the days and weather.
Have you been practicing your star reading?
Well, not so much as just...
Yeah, you know Esme's going to ask anyway. I'll need not belabor the subject.
Let's not have the conversation twice.
Yeah, well, I'll be
good to
hearing it,
practice
I'm
the
sure.
excuse.
What is this gleaning day? I have heard talk of it, and yet I still know not the intricacies therein.
I take it Budge hath not taken this time to educate you on his culture just as of late, then come with me.
Wait, do I know that this is Budge's mum?
No, not at this point. She actually hasn't introduced herself by name.
Yeah, I said hi, and she totally didn't need to just ignore.
If she hasn't, I'll...
Budge!
What?
Is it your mum?
Oi, this is my mum, Saphira.
Thought so, for she did tell you off, and with your strength you would not put up with that from anyone else.
No, they would not want to fight Saphira, or my other mother, Esme.
You are so lucky to have a live mother. Quick, go, stand next to her, talk to her.
Budge does.
We're all following her at this stage.
Yeah, you're walking along now.
Brockley!
Yes.
That was Budge's mother.
What? I did sense a kinship, a tightness, and yet I didn't know the intricacies therein. This is great news. Oh, Budge's mum! Ah, so good to finally meet thee. Thy son is so strong of arm, and he has been a valuable member of the magical Came band.
Oh, as I do live and breathe. Ruatru, have you gone and joined the theatre troupe?
Nay, that is not
Are
what has
you
occurred.
singing and dancing for us at the festival?
They will sing and dance for me. I will assist them.
To see you right front and center. I will. Do you know this one would never dance when times call for dancing? Quick of foot as he is, and long of arm. Who's not going to charm the others, huh? Not my Budge. Well, I'm glad to hear he's growing up, skilling up. Has he a good
So
singing voice?
this way,
my
I think it was.
Budge?
I think Peeves has already started to catch the scent of the others. So, hey, we should make a move before light leaves us.
You're lucky to have that dog with you. You are.
But too right.
And then Saphira looks back, and you can see Lim, the owlbear, has sort of like... It keeps like inching his way closer to Webastion, who is sort of warily keeping the distance the same. And they're sort of like circuiting the party a little bit as it goes. Like, not a full-on chase, but Lim is clearly trying to get close enough to like sniff Webastion. And Webastion is less than okay with that bubble getting burst.
Alora,
Rain.
Thank you.
Most welcome. What in particular art thou thanking me for? Right?
You are very useful.
I endeavor to be so.
Good. You should stay with our party. Do not take a job here.
And it's just while we remain here, I can be useful to them. I do not wish to stay.
You did have me worried. But we need you in the party, even if you are weak.
I am hopefully strong of mind, if not of...
I, strong of mind, strong of spells, strong of ropes, strong of tinkering.
Saphira turns around at this point, and looks at you, Alora, and says, I hope you will forgive the question. I've seen naught of your lot, and I have wandered far in these parts. Where do your kin call home?
Thou needst must wander far indeed to come across any of my kind. I am indeed from the very far Snowdrop Isles in the west. Thou must be an ocean-going traveler of many a month to get to my home.
Many a month on the sea, you said.
It's very far.
I've looked down fearsome beasts. I can tell you, that sounds more fearful to me. Caught on a boat for months.
Then thou and I are at amenable odds there, my friend. I'm as lost in the forest as thou would be upon the waves. I am nautical born.
Different paths to all who tread them, I do suppose.
Brockley,
Irene.
did they notice that Budge, Alora, and Finn did not join in with the magical cane band?
Finn would have definitely joined in.
Yeah, I did.
Finn did it! I didn't see Finn join in!
Yeah, no, I feel like they did. I know. I heard a smatter. Alora definitely. Budge.
I watched!
She went magical.
Did.
One of these.
Budge twisted, I say.
Yeah. I feel like maybe you have misjudged our fellow cane band members.
It must be the ale. I should drink more, and then I just keep drinking.
Now, talking to Saphira, I do love to travel so much. I would love to hear, when we are at leisure, mayhap around the campfire later, some of thy travel stories. The world is a fascinating place to me.
So ye shall. There be a number of the Eruatrues who never let a good fire go to waste. 'Tis too many rumps on which to hang a tale. There be many a song, and I suppose feasts, and maybe a bit of dancing.
Right.
And I shall happily hear more.
Did Budge have any nicknames growing up? What did you call Budge?
Well,
This is his nickname, Brockley.
Oh, Budge is his nickname. That's right. He's got another name. I keep forgetting it.
His name is
Budge were
Huri.
not his given name, that be Huri.
Oh, that's right.
Huri Eruatru. Although, if you ask nicely, I'm certain Esme might be forthcoming about some of her own pet names
Nay.
for Budge.
It's not needed.
Oh,
Budge is my name.
I'd say a glass and a half of mead in her, and she'll be very forthcoming on the subject.
Did he have any hobbies? What were his
Start.
childhood hobbies?
Even the tale of how one name such as Budge became onto who would be most interesting. Isn't
Well,
that an unusual choice?
That were my sister Zilla, who has that story.
So it is her tale to tell, and it is a sacred thing, a tale whose is to tell. I shall leave it her. But I've my own, I'm sure, that you'll hear, time out of time. How long do you plan to stay here in the Moonwood, Budge, before you traipsing on again?
We have a few things. Show and share. And, well, not sure yet. I have to talk to my, my friends here. Figure out what they're doing as well.
We doing?
What we're doing. But I
doing?
want to know what you want to do.
I needs must tinker this box, Budge, with most haste.
Aye, and we brought something. Well, some. Ask not, for we shall tell thee later in the form of a play. But have the hide of a dragon, and its heart, and its liver, and its horns, and its fangs, and its scales.
Teeth?
Aye,
Acid.
aye.
Budge.
And
Tis a tale indeed.
Budge will just try and lock eyes with Saphira to be like, and like grinning, just being like, no, I'm not bullshitting.
Son of mine.
Aye.
It is your tale to tell, and you'll tell it when you are ready.
I'll reach in, I'll grab a scale and throw it to Saphira.
Hey, big spender. Do, 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 do.
Budge. I shall want to hear this tale. Slowly and clearly.
shall. Aye.
And she sort of stops for a second, actually, and looks back at the rest of you, and then at Webastion. Budge. Thy life has taken a turn, sure enough. I know not whither it leads, but thou art on it.
Just how I feel too.
Right then. And then she'll sort of lumber back along, and you hear a skittering sound as Lim seems to have taken an opportunity to get a little bit closer when Bastion wasn't looking, and he jumps and got away. You'll have a little bit more of a trip ahead of you, but within a few hours from when Saphira has encountered you, you'll notice that the ground before you becomes a cleared path. It's a kind of a deer trail, but pretty broadly made, winding its way through trees, finding the most advantageous ground, easy crossings at a few creeks. And also the wood around you begins to change. Where there were pretty sparse trees at one point, the undergrowth begins to grow suddenly thicker. And although you're on a clear pathway, you begin to travel in a way that seems a little bit circuitous. Those of you with the higher passive perceptions, like Alora and Finn, you might notice that you actually apparently pass some of the same landmarks a few times. Some distinct trees with forks in odd directions. You might not even notice the first time or two it happens. But after a while, Alora, I think you definitely pick up on it. It never seems like you're looping back on yourself, but the evidence seems to suggest that you are. Something has changed. And Budge, you're familiar with this sensation, what's going on. You've passed into the Moonwood at this point. The trees at that point also begin to change. In addition to the thick undergrowth, rather than the kind of mishmash of very different kinds of trees and wild combination, deciduous and otherwise, this is almost entirely alpine. The air is actually a little bit cooler, and you're coming on towards sunset, so that makes sense, but there is a crispness to it. A real kind of bite ready behind the wind when it does blow, which you can't often feel because the trees become so dense.
Broccoli!
Irene. What troubles thee? Thou art tense.
Yes, don't leave me.
Where would I go?
I don't know.
There will be times when I will have to go places that thou art not.
I just do not leave this camp without me or send me away.
Why has this vexation struck thee? What thinkest thou?
We have been alone for so long, and yet now we are going to be surrounded by others.
Oh, now thinks the lure of the camaraderie of others will prove a temptation to fracture the Cane Band and rob us of our magic.
Alora could get a job, and Budge could fall in love and have baby bugbears, and
It's true.
Finn could find a woman of the sea in her heart, although probably a tree person.
Aye.
And perhaps
True.
you may meet a love and forget about your old friend Rain.
Our Rain has my path down the way of the wolf not solidified a kinship between us that shall take some breaking. But thou must also know that lives shall diverge from time to time. These friends we have, they may not be here forever. Glee is a book. Who knows? Who knows what others shall be turned into from time to time? We might wake up in the morning and Budge could be a pot. And what if, for some reason, we do a show and a wizard strikes and Alora becomes a bush? A little bushel. And we shall put her in a pot and we shall carry her with us and we shall say, Alora, we shall water thee and keep thee safe. And yet, it is sad that thou art a bush now. These are things that are beyond our control, Rain, and we must accept that they are a possibility. Budge a pot, Alora a bush, me a book.
I had not even thought of that, Broccoli. And I just
Prepare
keep
thyself,
drinking
Rain.
more ale.
You just lost temporary hit points.
you got despired.
The future is a dark and cantankerous place, Rain. Now try to make peace with it. Sorry. I've lost my morning optimism, Rain. I've lost my morning optimism. You know, sometimes in the middle of the day I get a little dark. I get a little bit existential. You know, there's a darkness within all of us, Rain. And sometimes you got to go into the darkness and see what's there. You know what's sometimes there? Nothing. Loneliness, emptiness, lack of friends. You know, sometimes we've got nothing to cling to, Rain. Sometimes we're all alone in the darkness, without a friend to call our own. That's just the way it is, you know? We feel like all hope is lost. You know, I was out there, my family dead, you know, everyone murdered, my fault. I wandered the desert reading my book, Fantastic Fables of the Forest, clinging to hope until I almost starved to death, dehydrated. You know, I had to burn the book to stop from freezing. Not a word left to read. And I stared death in the face in the darkness, and I thought, well, this is it, isn't it? Darkness, emptiness, not a friend to call my own. Oh well, let me slip off this mortal coil and embrace sweet, sweet death. Then I was saved, and a new future opened before me. For out of the darkness, light. You know, I found a friend who lured me out of the darkness and taught me to embrace the light, and taught me a lot of useful things, and showed me more books, and taught me new things. And all it took was one person's kindness, but before he extended the olive branch of kindness, I had no one. And yet, if I wasn't open to new friendships, then I would have been alone in the dark all this time. So now thou hast friends, Rain. And yet, at one point, thou might have no one. But after that, perhaps more friends. Who knows, Rain? Anyway.
Straight from the tap now. Not bothering with a
You
mug.
chose mayonnaise.
I did not. I have been drinking ale this whole time.
Oh, sorry. Thought you were feasting on the forbidden liquid.
Make a cholesterol saving throw.
should have-
Okay.
Can you have a mix of could you have mayonnaise and ale, like mayonnaise or something like that? Alenaise?
Nay, this jug shall produce ale, and that is all every day. I will ensure of it.
It can make wine.
Nay,
And beer.
ale.
I'm gonna do a content warning for Alenaise.
Oh boy, what an amazing ride.
Oh my god. From inspiring to despairing leader.
To kind of inspiring to back in despair.
Yeah, it was a real roller coaster. At the end of this interesting journey. Ahead of you, just ahead, there is a clearing as night is beginning to fall over, and the shadow of the Dawn Guard is crossing over the clearing, getting longer and longer, nearly covering it. And Saphira stops you all and then turns to you, Budge, and says, right then, Saphira. As your mother, I think it's time I told you, and hath been some time since the family hath seen thee, so take a deep breath. Now is the last moment of quiet you will know for, well, a little bit.
Oh, what lovely mum words!
And one other thing, Budge, I have to tell you. I'm sorry. And then she claps your back hard enough to make you step forward, and then a snare wraps itself around your ankle and then flops up into the air. Budge is hanging upside down, and you hear the guffaws of laughter from two different directions as one after the other. Ithy and Zilla drop down from tree branches nearby, and both give like nods of thanks to Saphira and like give knuckles to each other. And then say, "Oh, Budge, what's got you down?"
I mean, that is the question. What shall get me down?
Oh,
For I would wish it be thee.
is that what thou dost wish?
No, nay.
Zilla,
nay.
well, if that's what you wish, thou shouldst take some care with what thou wishest for, Budge. It's time for you to see a new bit of fun we've come up with. And then Ithy starts just like cackling to himself as well as Zilla comes from behind the tree. And you realize you're not actually attached to the tree. What you assume was a branch that snapped up like a usual snare is actually part of something separate from the tree that seems to have been rigged up on the other side. It's kind of like a small form tripod, like a trebuchet. But it has been built on these little wooden wheels in a sort of jerry-rigged fashion. But it has provided a bit of a fulcrum, for which this bit thing. Yeah.
Cat's Grace on myself.
What are you casting?
Enhanced ability, Cat's Grace.
Okay, so you've got advantage on Dex-related stuff. Is that right?
Yeah. Advantage on Dex checks and no damage from falling 20 feet or less, as long as I'm not incapacitated.
Okay, so you're casting that spell on yourself, and as you're doing that,
I'm like praying
Zilla...
to the Amber Lady to carry me safely towards soft foliage.
As you're uttering your prayer, Zilla and Ithy begin to then push this apparatus from behind the tree where it's been standing, and begin wheeling you outward towards the clearing and say, "Come hither! We've got the centerpiece for tonight's feast!" And they start shouting,
"If thee care at all for me, thee shall save me in this moment!"
And Saphira just shakes her head and takes like a ram's horn from her side and just blows. And there's this loud and these birds take off from the trees. Budge, you cast this spell for a reason, I presume. What are you trying to do from up there where you're caught?
Oh, it was more in preparation for being flung.
Okay. Yeah, you're dangling right now, but you're caught by this snare. So if you want to try to disentangle yourself from it, you can.
I'll have a look at the knots. Do they look like they have been done? Does it look like it's even worth struggling at this point, or should I accept my fate?
It's a pretty good one. Like you could maybe, untying it's going to be tough in your position. There's other ways out of a rope snare. It's up to you though.
No, I'm gonna stay. I've got a trick.
Okay. Cane Band, are you following along as they wheel a newly captured Budge into the clearing?
And as I walk up to them, I say, "Good morrow, Ithy."
Yeah.
I am following far behind.
You notice a number of other figures suddenly emerge from the tree line on other areas, some of whom are little ones, children who are sprinting immediately to where Budge is. And then these people seem to have been waiting as suddenly a bunch of torches get lit one by one in the vicinity and get carried along as folks bringing their packs with them and some of them wheeling carts with like goods and stuff like that. and they set up in there, and there's suddenly all this kind of like loud laughter and people shouting back and forth to each other, and it's a mix of bugbears and also a handful of goblins and folks of various description, sort of emerging from the woods. And a handful of them come up to you, and you recognize some familiar faces, including. Sorry?
I'm looking for Ichabod. I want to see her.
You will spot her eventually. She is moving slowly with another bugbear walking alongside her, one that you've not seen before, who is shorter by bugbear standards, so still, like 6'3", 6'5", maybe. And she is walking along with Ichabod, kind of like helping her. Has like a hand underneath her elbow, and is smiling, looking up, and just kind of shaking her head, seeing Budge up there. But everyone else has sort of gathered around Budge, and the kids are like laughing and pointing up, and a few of them kind of take little clods of dirt and are like throwing them up, trying to get them into your fur.
I'll try and whip some of them with it.
And with your cat's grace, it's actually not. It's surprisingly easy for you to snag a couple of those and just like wing them back, which makes the kids just go crazy, and they start squealing and kind of like falling over themselves, trying to use each other as shields and throw more back at you. But also the act of doing all this catching starts you spinning a little bit because of the way you're hanging, so you're having to like keep yourself oriented and also use those long arms to grab things and cover your face. It's chaos. Long story short.
Yes, they're always so much fun, aren't they? Love them.
I'll go over to Ichabod when I see her.
She'll see you coming and kind of give a little bit a bow of her head to you.
And,
Well then, good Laura, it is a pleasure to see thee again.
Indeed, not as pleasurable as it is to see thee. And Esme, I presume? Gestured to the woman next to her. Is that her name?
Yep. And then the bugbear woman next to Ichabod bows her head very slowly and says, I was told that you were the perceptive one. Perspective too, perhaps.
Thank thee so much for having us.
It is our pleasure, certainly. Welcome to a home we cannot fully claim as our own, but are happy to share for the time that we have it. And then Esme, as she says that, she sort of puts out one of her very big bugbear hands, closes it, then opens it again. And in it, there is a bloom that wasn't there before. A flower that you're likely never to have seen before, Laura, even in all your travels. It is a light purple in color and shaped like a long curve with its stamen and everything still in the middle, but it's shaped, in a kind of almost like banana curve. Sort of sits like a boat in her palm. She hands it to you.
Thank thee. That is most curious and spectacular trick.
Well, if you stay with us a while, and I'm certain you shall see a number of tricks worth remembering. And from what I have heard, perhaps show us a few of your own, I hope.
Would be my delight.
At this point, the crowd around you, Budge, has gotten more considerable, and a number of the voices and faces you'll recognize, and some less so, that maybe you haven't seen in a long time, or just new faces. And people are like, "Oh, what are you gonna do then, there, Budge? Come on, then. Shall we skin him? Is he ready for tanning this one? Oh, it's a bit of a small catch, this bear, but I suppose he'd make a handsome rug."
I have got my hand on the inside of my cloak on the Immovable Rod.
Nice. Okay.
And I'm waiting to be launched.
And so Zilla comes over there and says, "Oh, now, everyone! It's only fair we give the creature its final blessing. before we make an offering to the huntress. You see, fell beast. Do you have any last words before we offer you to Hearn as is good and right in this fair season?
Launch me to the sky, for I have learned the secrets of flight.
And then there's this titters of oohs, like, all right then. The creature speaketh ill even unto its last breath. Perhaps then it shall be all the more satisfactory when the huntress sees it to its death. And then she pulls a lever to release the mechanism that has caught you. And it's going to like swing back and forth and release the rope, which it does. So tell me, Budge, exactly how do you use the rod as you're about to be slung by this thing?
I would like to trigger it at the apex of my fall. So like if it releases me and I'm up in the air at the very tip top of that height, I'd like to trigger it and try and cling to it.
You do so, and then suddenly there is a Budge at the end of a rope that has been released, just like up in the air. Stop still.
How high?
I would say at least 20 feet.
He's all right.
And he is just boom, still there, with your owlbear cloak wrapped around it, just like sitting on it.
I'd like to try and like fold my arms as if I'm levitating in the air.
Okay, Budge, make a deception check.
Not the best, but not the worst.
Rain, did you say something just then? I think you were muted if you did. 18. Okay, Budge, you pull it off. You sort of make your momentum go so that you know you're not falling, and you posture yourself just so your cloak is covering the rod. And the kids squeal.
As they go off, I'll yell down, "Foolish little mortals! For in my time a traveling I have grown so powerful.
He's got guns.
Neither gravity, nor magic, nor beast, or fiend, or fae can stop me. Me!"
I can't resist. I'll do a little thunder roll.
Nice.
Can't help it.
That gets a few jumps from the crowd, and a bit of an appreciative nod from Esme, who notices what you're up to.
Budge has no idea how he's going to get down.
I'll ask him in his head. Are you out there okay, Budge?
Any assistance would be needed. I have not thought it through past this point.
Needest thou me to catch thee?
I mean, that would be good.
No one need no Budge. Just let go and thou shalt float safely to the ground. Mayhap thou couldst use it for further entertainment.
I'll click the immovable rod.
And I'll count the fall.
Okay. As that happens, Budge, you plummet quickly for a second, and then the spell from Alora's magic catches you, and you begin to kind of drift gracefully down until you hit the ground. And then the people have sort of crowded around you, and there's a little bit of this moment of like, what did he just do? And then people close in and sort of like clapping you on the back and being like, what have you done? How did you do that? That's a nifty trick you have. And someone else is like, I've heard he's joined the circus. This must be one of the acts.
Nay, 'twere not that I've joined a circus. 'Tis a band. Like a magical band.
Oh, sing us a song then, Budge. You're in a band. He's in a band, he said. Oh, what's the name of the band? I hope he's the lead singer, he is.
Nay, not that kind of band, like a party.
I'll smile back at Esme.
Wow. Brock, that is a show.
See, Budge, he's got the showman within him. It's only a matter of time before he takes center stage and shows all what he is worth.
I have not seen theatre in so long. It gladdens my heart.
He'll be able to play himself in the tale of Hagar the Dragon that we should perform for the in the Moonwood, for all who would be interested. And Budge can play himself as the Slayer of the Dragon, and all shall see the endeavors that he has done.
Budge hears this, a true terror goes through his heart as he did not equate what he was doing to performance. He was like, "That's a trick. That's a joke."
Yeah, totally different. 100% not the same
Totally
thing.
different. 100% different.
But Brockley, as you say this out loud, you notice one of the kids who seems a little bit more tentative and wasn't like joining in the ring around is sort of turning and staring up at you. For one, wide-eyed because you are you, Brockley, and for another, hearing you say this and say, "What was that you said about Hercor the dragon?
Oh,
Do you have a story about a dragon?"
oh, do we ever, my little friend? A story so rich in adventure, so drenched in blood, so ripe with intrigue, that thou hast never heard the like, my little friend. Why, when thou seest it, thou shalt wake in terror every night to think of it. A deep well of fear shall grow within thee, as if a vine is attached to thine heart. Thou shalt ne'er know comfort from this day forth.
I want to hear the
tale.
story about the rind within trees and the wrath and blood. Rind within trees. And then she goes and like shakes another one of the little bugbear kids. And it's like, "Eustace, he says the tale of rinds in trees and dragons. What are you talking about, Orion and rind in trees?" "Oh, he's a big one, he is. What, is that the one who said that?" And people are just like swarming around the lot of you now. And it's just a crowd of creatures that are, for the most part, 6 to 7.5 feet tall. The bugbear folks, anyway, and like running almost between their legs many of the time. There's a number of goblins and a handful of hobgoblins as well, who are sort of in between those heights. Rain, from your vantage point, it's like a. Sorry, go ahead, Laura.
Sail around in the heads of the children. Like it's just like zooming around their heads.
And for them, it is like an embarrassment of riches. They're like bouncing from each of you to each of you, like looking at your, like over the initial weirdness about you being strangers. They start like tapping at your armor and then like running away and then like trying to catch Alora's boat. And a lot of them have stayed around you, Budge, kind of looking at your cloak and saying, "No, it's something, his cloak is magic. Maybe it's a magic cloak."
"Boy, and if you get too close, it shall consume thee!" And I will like grab one and like try and shove him under the cloak.
Yeah, and then the kid is just screaming, and all the other ones go running away and like hiding behind other ones. Like, "Has he had him? Did he eat Jimmy?"
I'll try
I
and
think
like
he's-
maneuver the kid so his head comes out the top of the cloak, and I've like pulled the cloak out.
Yeah.
So you
He's taking Budge's head, he has.
just more
Yeah.
shenanigans.
It's utter madness. And as all this is happening, Budge, after a little while, you hear the voice of Esme in your mind, not out loud, saying, "Are you going to speak with your mother at some point, Budge?"
I'll like look over and like drop the kid out and just make my way over.
As you come up closer, Esme kind of holds her composure, and Ichabod is sort of looking sidelong at her. "It's good to see thee, Budge."
It is all sorted now. Like, Banksy's gone, and like the debt is cleared, and we're all back. It's all sorted.
Esme just envelops you at this point in a hug, and as if on cue, Zilla and Ithi like glom on from either sides, and Zilla starts like giving you double noogies on top of one of your heads, and Ithi is like dead-legging you like under your knees and then grabbing you, and then Zilla is sort of saying, "You've got to tell me about that trick, whatever it was you did. I want to learn that straight away." And out of the corner of your eye, you can see, having been sort of skulking at the edges, Helly makes an appearance and comes up and stands a little ways off.
Is she is Helly looking better since we rescued her? Because I know she was like silent, close to when she was
peaky. Yeah.
captured.
It's been a handful of days since then. She definitely looks more nimble and with it. She's probably on the mend. As the same is also true of Ichabod. I think all of you who are close by would notice that Ichabod is moving slow. She's spry, but like is clearly grateful for Esme's support. Then after this sort of massive pile of bugbear and goblin business sort of relinquishes you there, Budge, Esme then turns to the rest of you and says, "Well then, welcome all of you of the magical cane band. It is our great honor and privilege to have ye here as guests. For what cometh soon is one of the great, most sacred times for our people. As this moon approacheth, we come near to the day of gleaning. It is a time for omens, weal and woe, and also to understand who is friend and foe. So this night, from greatest to least, I hope you shall join us for a great, true feast." And as she says that, there is like a great big like blast of a bunch of hunter horns from around, and somebody has set up a bunch of twigs, and Saphira snaps a finger, and a bonfire just like emerges on those sticks where they've been set, and it's a blast of heat coming back from it. Can't hear you, Catherine. I think you're muted.
Rain just runs, drunkenly runs in the opposite direction, crying and screaming to herself.
I'm guessing
I'll
Finn
send
got
Peeves.
Nice.
Yeah. What did you say, Budge?
I'll send Peeves after her.
Yeah, Finn will likewise sort of work her way over there to sort of make sure the situation's okay. But the feast, the first feast, has begun. The bonfire is in full flame. A recently hunted boar has been brought out, prepared for spit, and there's these pungent fumes of the marinade that it has been sort of dry rubbed with as the fire begins to singe the skin. There's people setting up their camps and getting sort of lean-tos established.
As soon as
loud
the bonfire,
conversations.
as soon as the bonfire caught up on fire, I've pulled out my collapsible bongo drum, and I'm just camped by the bonfire, ready to go.
Yeah, and you are not alone, Brockley. There are instruments from everywhere. It seems like everybody has like some pipes or a flute or drums, and there's even a couple of lutes here and there, oddly fashioned as they might be. And this sort of cacophony of noise and music and laughter, and you can smell the food as it's getting laid out. And I think at the beginning of that feast, it's a good place for us to leave off for our session this evening. On the eve of the 21st of Snowbreak, you are in the Moonwood Magical Cane Band.
We got there!
You made it! You did it! You found the Haruatrus at long last.
Yay.
I'm very excited. There's a lot of fun Moonwood business ahead, and all of you who have watched this eve or later on our YouTube channel can catch them in 2 weeks' time at 7:30 on Sunday. The Magical Cane Band is here fortnightly, as are our other crew, the Headless Marys, who shall be here in 1 week's time, 7:30 Sunday next, Melbourne time. We shall still be locked down. If you still are, solidarity, come join us. It's a good time for us to go ahead and thank a few folks, including Matt Day, our technomancer in residence, who designed Rollcasts, which is how we're getting to video chat with each other and use these cool dice interlays. To Eric Matthias, who has provided the cool tunes that you are hearing on your end. Check those out and more at soundimage.org. Thank you as well to our players for mucking in, as always, giving me such a great time. and all of you as well. And thank you to those of you who have shared your Sunday Eve with us. You may follow us on all the media social, but primarily Twitter and TikTok at Bardic_inspo. You can also catch Sooth Players, the creators of Completely Improvised Shakespeare, at Sooth Players on all those same places, and soothplayers.com for more info. If you haven't yet, subscribe. Click that bell button to be notified of when we turn up. We will be definitely producing a lot more Shakespeare D&D and other related types of content here on our channel. So it is time for us to close off, as we always do, by saying to all of you, thanks, and more thanks. Have a good night.